All right. We welcome you again for another episode of Beyond the Front Door, where we explore the world of real estate and connect with the industry experts. And today we do have Marc Blair from EXP Realty. He's been in the industry for 23 years now. Again, I am your host, Joe Romaine from Golden Bear Home Inspections and the Detroit Real Estate TV. So welcome today, Marc.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So we'll give you a second here with our viewers to start things off by telling them a little bit about yourself and your background and what led you to a career in real estate.
Yeah, I kind of just I try to avoid it actually. So my dad has been a broker for 42 years in Toronto, and I actually didn't want to do real estate at all. And I remember I got a job at a bank as a bank teller. I started saving up money, and I bought a condo downtown Toronto. That's where I'm from. So I bought this condo and I started to live there. And excuse me, I decided to just rent it out. I wasn't really enjoying it. Like there wasn't a lot happening. The building was really new. There wasn't a lot of people living there, and a lot of my friends lived on the other side of town. So I ended up renting it out. And 9 months later, I called my dad and I said I'd like to sell it. And I literally sold it and got my year's paycheck up front.
Hmm.
And he looked at me and said, "Wow, that was pretty easy. Why don't you just keep doing that?" And I said, "You know what? I think I will because I want the freedom." I'd just gone to high school in England and I traveled Europe pretty thoroughly because student airplane tickets are really cheap.
Mm-hmm.
So did a lot of traveling and I got back and I was just itching to travel more. I wanted some more freedom. And so once I started to dive into real estate, I would utilize my income to buy back time and get freedom and I just really excelled at it. I didn't know it was a talent. I didn't know I was going to be good at it till I started doing it. And then I started actually flipping homes in the first year. I started doing all kind of investments within the first 12 months. So I never looked back.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's a fantastic journey to get there.
It was a bit of a roller coaster. There's some up and downs. So it wasn't a smooth sailing cruise ride or anything. So there was a lot of ups and downs and a lot of learning. Yeah.
So we've had, a few of these. So we've had different perspectives on it. Everybody's got a different perspective on it right
Hmm.
now. But I mean, there is a lot of stuff out there about the real estate market currently,
Hmm.
and it's always constantly evolving. So can you provide our viewers your perspective on the current market trends and how they're impacting buyers and sellers?
Yeah, so what we're seeing is if you've got property in a desirable area, so that's what I call a desirable areas where you've got good school districts and a lot of business happening, so a lot of jobs that are close by, or just a lot of amenities, right? I find those areas are still moving, so if they sit on the market a little bit longer, they eventually do sell. Now, if you are trying to sell a property that people may buy if the other properties are not available, those areas are a little bit more stagnant, so they're slower, definitely. What I'm seeing is that the rates come down, so there's activity just started to pick up a little bit more, and we're not seeing as many as aggressive multiple offers, but sellers have already reduced the price to attract more buyers, and buyers are like starting to move towards that. And what I think is going to happen is your interest rate is probably going to come down because that's usually the cycle around election year. And so you'll see interest rate reduction into March, into spring, and then you'll see some good activity. It'll be healthy and steady. I don't think we're going to see that multiple offer situation from the last year and a half,
Yeah.
2 years ago, but I think we'll see a healthy market. And I'm hoping that people start to manage their debt. That's been a major concern for the
Okay.
economy.
All right. And then where's your office located?
We are located in Mount Clemens at a branch office. So our EXP head office is in Troy, and our managing broker has an office in Plymouth. So we cover that side of town, and then we have an office building on Cass Avenue in Mount Clemens because it is just so handy. The courthouse is down the street for our investors who bid on auctions on
Yeah.
Fridays, and then we have the Macomb Registry is right down the road too. So it is very convenient.
And so there are some benefits too. So, and many people do value local expertise when choosing a realtor. So what do you believe are the benefits of working with a realtor who knows their local market inside and out?
Well, I've done a lot of business in major cities and I've done investing in multiple states. And what I find is when I do real estate as a service, it's got to be hyper local. There's just so many local factors that change quickly. And your relationships are better managed, your referrals are better managed, and you don't have to, get into the fact of there's a lot of businesses that like to buy a lot of leads, and that's okay. It's a great business model, but my business model is a referral based, so
Mm-hmm.
I'm really focused on being hyper local for that reason, and that's been really good for my business. I wouldn't do it any other way. My dad's a referral agent particularly, so
Yeah.
his whole business is really created on phone calls and relationships and meeting people, and I really love people, so I enjoy that personally. So I don't want to have like a automated lead system out of my referral network type thing. I really like referrals coming in from people I've already met before. And it's great to call them back again. It's fun to
Yeah.
catch up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You actually kind of have a relationship with them that way. So it's not just they were another number who came
No,
in,
it's just business is more enjoyable that way for me because a lot of us we have a lot of friendships out of that too. We have a lot of other things in common that we do together. So it's just more than business at the end of the day.
Yeah.
There's more to it.
Um, then I know you kind of geared to it with the referrals and everything. So building strong relationships with clients is very important in the real estate industry. So, what are some tips or strategies for nurturing and maintaining those relationships that you've used in the past?
I'm not sure if I mentioned this, but I had relocated after me and my wife got married. We ended up actually relocating to Michigan. So I already had an established real estate business and I had to start mine all over again from scratch in a brand new place. So what I did was literally, because being a little old school, I opened up the yellow pages, white pages, whatever you want to call them, and went through Google and called businesses, lawyers, attorneys, and um, uh, contractors, and asked them, are they flipping homes? And I started to generate business really out of thin air, and it was just based on relationships. So I would call them and find out what their problems were. So the contractor was too busy to show his home that he wanted to sell on his own to save commission, and by the time we talked, I was able to help him.
Hmm.
So this just continued and spiraled and growed and snowballed into a wonderful cycle of referrals. So it like you could build anything from anything with a lot of care if it's authentic and people can feel it, they can read it, they know that you're really there to help them and you really care. They can tell the difference.
Yeah.
And I think that can accelerate your business significantly. You can do all the training you want all day, but until you start applying, putting your heart into it, you're really not going to see the fruit of your labor.
Yeah. Absolutely. And now, hopefully, many of our viewers are probably going to be like first-time home buyers, but anybody looking to purchase a home obviously knows the process can be quite daunting.
Mm-hmm.
Been through it myself. So could you walk through the key steps in the home buying process and how a realtor can be an invaluable resource through that process?
Yeah, what I like to do is if when we're working with first-time home buyers, I like to walk them through the whole transaction even before we start looking at homes. So they know exactly what's going to happen along the process, along the line. They're not going to be surprised if I say, hey, I need the deposit check within 2 days. So I like to sit them down and walk them through the whole entire process. And I also like to give them comfort if we don't find anything today, that we're not in a rush. We want you to find something that actually suits your family and that's going to work for your family. We don't encourage you to keep moving over and over again. We want you to find something that makes sense so that when your family does decide to move again in the future, you have a significant purpose to do it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when we work with investors, it's a completely different conversation. It all has to be around numbers, safety, recession analysis, a lot of things that we do that most people don't even present to their clients. So we'll go over and above beyond so that they can almost experience a transaction before they get into it. So they're not surprised. It's comfortable. And it goes a lot smoother for that reason. Yeah.
That's good. It's nice to have exactly what you're going into, eyes
Yeah.
wide open, instead of being surprised along the process. Wait, I need to do what
Yeah.
now? So yeah, I know sometimes you hear processes like they didn't know they had to make this, write this check at this point. Like, wait, what? Huh?
Well, we figured out early that people don't like surprises. I personally don't like surprises, so I like to take it right out of the equation so that people can really just be ready for what's next.
Yeah. All right. So that's been a good intro to our interview here. So we are going to take a quick break and we'll return right after this. Do you find homeownership to be kind of confusing and hard to take care of? You don't know who to call for this service. Who do I call for that? Call National Home Services. We will handle everything for you. From our trusted contractors, from plumbers, electricians, concrete to landscapers, to home warranties, alarm systems, utility hookup, pest control, lawn services. We will take care of all of that for you. Give us a call at 989-467-0224 or find us on the web at nhsgrp.com. So that's National Home Services, powered by such brands as Golden Bear Home Inspections, DWR Cement and Construction, Secure 24, and others. Again, call us at 989-467-0224 or look for us at nhsgrp.com. All right, we're back with Beyond the Front Door here with Marc Blair from EXP Realty. So we're going to continue on getting to know him and learn some valuable knowledge that he has to share with you today. So how do you educate your clients about the significance of getting a home inspection, and what information do you provide to help them understand the value and potential impact on their home purchase from that?
I think the practice starts from other things in your life. So if you're buying a car, you want a mechanic to check it out because you might not be a mechanic. So if you're not a contractor, then I highly recommend you bring somebody in who's got eyes and ears for that type of thing, and they can give you some insight. So even, I've done thousands of home sales, and I've flipped a couple hundred homes. But yesterday I was walking a home with a basement waterproofing guy that is known to be the best in the industry, and I learned a couple of things. And I was almost kind of shocked. I was like, how did I not know that? So what I want to say around that, this is a great time for you to be humble and to learn from someone who knows what they're talking about. So yes, you need a great home inspector, but the insight is invaluable because what you could save yourself in terms of pain, agony, time, and money in the future with your family, because I think all of our goals are to have more quality time with people that we love. So why would you want to spend it on something that's just going to cost you money and pain?
Yeah. And I know we've done some presentations about, because you mentioned like you get an inspection on your car. We've done some presentations to the real estate agents, just talk about how we should move the inspection before we list it, just because when we do it after, like we do now, the buyers fell in love with the house, they walked through it. Now we give them a chance for somebody to point out all the quirks to them. We give them a chance to fall out of love with the house. I'd correlate it to dating. Like you see a really good looking woman, but then you realize she's got all these quirks and she's not marriage material. But you do find that one that eventually has those quirks that you're okay with. She's marriage material. So like I always said, if we move it to the beginning of the inspection at the beginning, now that buyers walk through and they already know all the quirks, they fell in love knowing those quirks. I always compare it to a spouse thing. People kind of feel bad for my wife when I do that, but she's got some quirks and she knows it.
But you love them.
And I love them.
Here you are.
Because everybody, even in the buyer's inspection process, we try to let them know, hey, we're gonna find stuff. It's hard to find a perfect home, so just be open and ready for it. So now selecting the right home inspector is crucial. So what criteria do you use when recommending home inspectors to your clients?
We'll obviously base it on previous reviews from other clients that have used some people in the past that they've really liked. And then we'll base it on people that are out there educating realtors because they're given information that is helping them kind of help their buyers in advance before they get to a point, like you said, like where it's getting really deep in the deal where they fall in love and they really want this house at any cost, and you really don't want to put them in that position. Yeah. So it's really great if you can point out a couple things before in the showings that, like, hey, I've noticed this and I see some, I see that going on over there.
Yeah.
And that's helpful. So I think that you want to engage with people that are constantly educating. They're involved in the industry, and they've got a good reputation.
Yeah. And I would say not, I don't like, I'm a guy, don't like pat myself on the back, but when you're looking for inspectors, make sure they are professionally certified. There's two organizations out there who are professionally certified. There's so many inspectors out there who just went to basically run-of-the-mill education where they didn't have to do any ethics training or anything. So all my inspectors are able to say they're professionally certified. So that means we went through ethics training. All my staff actually takes the same ethics classes that realtors have to take. That's why we have access to some realtor tools as well, because we take the same exact class. Um, so then communication is key when it comes to the home inspection process between realtors and home inspectors. So share some insights on how realtors and home inspectors can effectively collaborate and ensure clear communication with their clients during that process.
Yeah, I think that's really important to do because you've got two expert opinions happening, and you're giving recommendations to somebody who's got to make their own decision. But in the same respect, I think it's good to make sure you're aligned with somebody who's got experience in material cost and renovation cost and repair cost, because when you're looking at an issue at hand, there should be an ability from both professionals to say, hey, I think that's going to look like this. Let's call someone and confirm that information. Let's get 2 or 3 quotes to confirm that information. And but there should be some pre-knowledge so that you don't have to really spin your wheels. I mean, if you see something that is so detrimental and everyone, has already assessed that this is already looking like a very big expense, you can save a lot of time. So the communication and knowledge is really key. And to be honest with your client is super important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know we like to keep the communication there with realtors in it too, where we let the clients know we're an expert in what we do and the realtors are expert in what we do. So they'll come to us, we have an issue. They're like, well, should I make the seller fix it? I'm like, now that's a point. You need to talk to your realtor. They've talked to the other agent. They know kind of the flexibility. That's between you and your realtor, know to negotiate. It might be something that he's going to say, it's something you might just want to take care of on your own. So it's nice having that relationship where, I'm not going to tell you, oh yeah, you should make them fix it.
Right.
No, I don't know the other agent.
Right.
And we do enjoy the communication with our realtors too. If we know like, hey, it's a first time buyer. So then we'll be a little,
Right.
walk them through the process a little more than somebody who's
Absolutely.
went through 10 inspections. So now we've talked a lot about the buying a home process. So now we flip it. So what advice do you have for homeowners who are looking to sell their property, and what can they expect working with a realtor selling their home?
Well, I think it's like anything. You can go to the hospital and meet with a surgeon who's done 1,000 surgeries. Then you can meet with a surgeon who's done 50,000 surgeries. So I think that there's a big weight in experience. Um, it's not really about your number of years practicing real estate. It's actually your weight in experience in number of transactions and service and families, and it's personable. So if you are able to sit down with somebody and show them an extreme value from your perspective of what you can bring to the table because of experience, it outweighs number of years that you've signed up for membership being a realtor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So there's a big difference in analyzing when you're selling your home. You really need to determine if it's a good fit for you and they can really protect you and they're a strong advocate for your needs. You can have anybody technically, like you said, do a home inspection and not have the credibility or the ethics training. So anybody can show up in a hot market and say, hey, yeah, I can do that job. And of course they can do that job. There's no discouragement for them not to learn and grow. But depending upon what your situation is, if it's complicated, go to somebody who's got a lot of experience by transaction count, personally done, not just maybe a large performance team where they're dividing the transactions per agent. And there's nothing wrong with that, but depending what your need is, you've just really got to make sure it's a good fit. Like if I'm going to go to a professional, whether it's an attorney or a surgeon, I really like to know their credentials and where it's coming from and how much experience they have. And I would like to know how many surgeries went wrong.
Yeah.
I'd like to know how many cases they did not win. So it's important to analyze a little bit more detail than just what you see on the surface. Yeah. And I think there's a lot of prep work that goes in for a seller, but from a home inspection perspective, there's a huge advantage if you can get a pre-inspection and start tackling some of the issues that are coming up, if there are any, and get ahead of it, because you want to deliver the home to the buyer it's going to put you in a better legal position, because you want to deliver a home that doesn't have problems and you can disclose everything. And it's just it's a greater way to do business. It's a better transaction. Everyone sleeps better at night, and you've got an overall good experience where everybody can win.
Yeah. Puts you in a lot better legal position because you're no longer the one liable for your disclosure because you brought in a certified professional inspector to do it. So now all the liability's on them. If something wasn't disclosed, you had it inspected. So it takes a lot of liability off you in that.
Yeah, and financially, it's a lot cheaper. Just so you know, like, you are not having to pay an attorney hundreds of dollars per hour when a pre-inspection doesn't really cost much at all. It really makes financial sense. It's a good investment.
And it allows you to make the repairs yourself and hire contractors, and not have to pay last minute rush somebody to get somebody in there.
Yeah.
Now we did mention investment properties a little bit earlier, so everybody knows that real estate is one of the best investment opportunities there is out there.
Absolutely.
It's one thing that usually never depreciates. So what advice do you have for individuals who are looking to invest in properties, whether it be a short-term, or I mean not short-term, but rental properties or just long-term appreciation?
Yeah, I mean, like, I've got a lot of experience with investment properties, and we're in a great location, Metro Detroit, and produces a very high cap rate, as you reviewed, over nationwide. We do a lot of work also in Florida for short-term rentals as well. We do all kinds of investments. So we do your commercial properties with, storage units and things like that. So it just really depends. There's so many different levels of investment. We've been teaching it for so long as well. So we do a lot of education around it. So you don't have to initially jump right into it. We can take some time with you, educate you to see what is a good fit, and really visit what your long-term goals are. That's what really matters the most. But a lot of it brings you financial freedom if you're operating the investment correctly. So if your numbers are correct, you've approached it correctly, you can really benefit from it. You're making money while you sleep, so to speak, right? But there's always another level to evolve to. So if you're working with somebody that can carry you to the next level, one after the other, there's a big advantage, because then you can create your long-term vision up front and you can work towards that. And there's a lot of great tax incentives that apply to investors, which does help them hedge their protection around inflation. So you've got two things happening. Not only are you growing your assets for your family, you've got correct guidance on the taxation side. You're hedging your protection against inflation, and lately that's been a big problem.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If you watch the news, you know it's a big problem right now. So again, we're going to take a short little break here, and then this will be our last break. We'll go over last few topics, and we'll return after this. Hello, Joe here from Golden Bear Home Inspections. For all your home inspection needs, reach out to Golden Bear Home Inspections. We're offering home inspections, commercial inspections, multifamily unit inspections. We do radon testing, mold testing, well and septic inspections, water testing. We do HUD certifications, engineering certifications for manufactured homes. We can do pest inspections. Pretty much if it's out there for inspection, we can do it, or we will find somebody who can. We look to be your one-stop shop. Every inspection comes with the InterNACHI 90-day buyback guarantee. So if we miss something on your inspection that we should have caught, you can't live in your home because we missed that item that we should have caught as home inspectors. InterNACHI, who certifies us, we are all certified professionally home inspectors here at Golden Bear Home Inspections. InterNACHI is going to buy that home back from you for what you pay for it within 90 days of your closing date. We also do offer a free 90-day home warranty with every inspection. We can't guarantee the life of your appliances after we leave. When we're there, the refrigerator might be running. It might quit 1 week after you move in. We give you a free 90-day home warranty, and that will be taken care of for you. For any other questions, please feel free to reach out. You get a hold of us at 989-467-0224. You can email us at gbhioffice@gmail.com. You can look us up on our website at www.goldenbearhomeinspections.com, or find us on Facebook as well, Golden Bear Home Inspections. So for all of your home inspection needs, please feel free to reach out to us, and we look forward to seeing you at your next inspection. All right. Welcome back to Beyond the Front Door with Marc Blair from EXP Realty. Again, we thank you for coming in today, sharing your insight. So now we are in 2023, so we know technology is something that is just off the charts in today's era and times. So technology plays a significant role in real estate as well. So how do you see technology shaping the future of real estate, and how do you incorporate it into your work?
I think it's going to get faster and more efficient, especially for investors. You're using AI to analyze, so a lot of times we do analysis and recession analysis, and the more check production data that we get that gets analyzed quicker for you, and you're going to get software that's going to basically read it back to you. I think it's going to help investors get ahead, and it's going to help buyers and sellers understand numbers better. So I think there's going to be faster transactions, less negotiation, because they're already going to determine what they're ready to pay.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And AI is just, it's, I can't even keep up to it. And like,
It's a lot.
like I said, we're a member of a group of inspectors across the country who constantly are on calls with each other, and just like how we stay on top of it, how we stay in front of it, how we use it as a benefit. And it's just like, it just changes every weekend. The potential of it is like, wow, it's amazing to see where it's going to go.
Yep.
Now, every industry does have its challenges. So what are some of the common challenges that realtors face, and how do you overcome them in your day-to-day work?
Well, I think a lot of the challenges for realtors in general is that sometimes they'll get caught up in a lot of becoming professional students, and they won't be focusing on money-making activities. And you've got to remind yourself as a realtor, like, this is a commission-based job. So you've really got to manage your time better than anybody else out there. So you've got to become a master of managing your schedule, and you've got to treat your time like it is worth hundreds of dollars an hour, because that's what it's actually worth. So your time has to be very efficient if you're not giving it away for personal things. But I think realtors have to be involved in real estate. So if you're not flipping homes, you're not buying rentals, you're not supplementing your income to manage your budget better, it can become challenging if you're not a very active realtor.
Yeah.
So one of the things that we've done for a lot of new realtors is that we've set up a team system where we can absorb a lot of their operating costs, and it helps them to develop their business, get themselves going. And then within 2 years, we encourage them, like, now you're doing great. Now you can go on your own, take our systems and go ahead and repeat it, and you can go and build your own team. So we actually encourage people to grow and evolve. But we really want to equip them with learning the correct habits, so that they can be successful and manage their finances correctly. The biggest thing I hear out of realtors, and one of their biggest challenges, is managing finances, understanding taxation, understanding what they can write off, or understanding what they can pay. So we just like to connect them to the professionals that have helped us grow and learn. And I think that makes their lives easier, because when you take the stress off of them, because the job is already really stressful, okay? Got a lot of pressure to do everything right, because there's a lot of legal ramifications if you make mistakes. So it is a very different type of line of work. And so our goal has really been pouring into people and helping them understand how to manage their business much better than they could have if they were, 10 years of painful learning. We want them to do it now versus 3 years down the line when, it's wrecking their family life and it's wrecking other personal things. So that's one thing that's been really important to us, is we want to address that, and we've been working on that, and it's been very fulfilling for us to do that.
Yeah, that's huge, because I know a lot of agents, they get, they start in like some of these smaller agencies, and it's basically they're just on their own. So to actually have a company care about you, to take you and like, hey, we don't want you to just be out there just sell, sell, sell. We also want you to be able to take care of yourself, and so it shows you care about your employees as well, so, or your team members. So.
Yeah, I don't think I don't think the formula makes sense. You can't really have a realtor who's so stressed out to go do perfect candid care for their client. So they've got to be in a good mental state, in a good business, standing so that they can go ahead and serve their client correctly too.
Yeah.
It's the entire mindset, and everybody suffers in that scenario.
Yeah.
So we tackle that quickly, and then we equip them with everything they need to know.
All right. That's some good stuff there. So you mentioned 23 years of experience. So do you have any memorable client success stories that you'd like to share that kind of highlight the impact of your work as a realtor?
Yeah, I've got a lot of them actually, but a couple of my favorite ones were my youngest clients. They were like 22, 23, bought their first home, and then we got them into investments, and they were leaving their jobs within 2 years.
Oh, wow.
So I've done this a lot of times, but to see people get married sooner, a year earlier, because they were able to flip a home or flip a new construction property that we helped them book that was being built, and the demand was just high later, and they were able to make money because we could foresee it. And so there's so many great stories, but a lot of the young families that we've helped, like now their kids are doing it now. So it's 23 years later. So now we're talking to their kids on investing. So it's actually very cool.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's when you know
I don't want to sound old or anything.
It's when you know you've been in it a while, but that
Right.
also means you've been successful if you've been in it for a while. So
Yeah.
you're successful when that's happening. So now I know a lot of people think they can be realtors. The amount of younger people who still haven't figured out where they're going in life, and that I hear them, I talk to them, they're like, I'm thinking about getting my real estate license. It seems like everybody thinks they're just going to go get their real estate license. They're going to be raking in big money in a year. So for those viewers who may be thinking of becoming a realtor, considering a career change, what advice or insights would you offer to someone looking to enter the real estate profession?
I think you have to check your motivation. If you're in it for making money, it's not going to sustain you because it's so stressful. It's such a different industry. We've got to put so much into it to get so much out of it. The reward is there for the person that serves their clients correctly, though. The clients really got to come first. Like if you are good at helping people get their goals and their visions completed, and you're that person that can assist with that, that's going to be super successful for that kind of person. Yeah. But being a realtor, as you can see right now in this market, half of them have already left. Yeah. So they didn't sustain, they didn't last, they were gone quickly. The ones that are still here are the ones that are able to do anything under the real estate umbrella. So you really got to find your niche. You've got to find out what you really love. That umbrella is actually huge. You could do property management as a broker. You could do lending. You could do a lot of group things together that could help you sustain in different markets, and you have to be able to maneuver both type of markets, good and bad.
Yeah. And understand that you're not working a 9 to 5. You are on call all the time.
Yeah.
So I get a lot of texts at 8, 9 o'clock at night from real estate agents with questions like, I know it's late. Don't feel like you have to answer it right now. And I text back. I'm like, I work when you work. So what do you got? So yeah, they're on call all the time. So then when you're not working in real estate, what are you doing in your free time?
A lot of things. I got 3 young kids, so I'm doing a lot. They got some, sports lessons. They got school. We do a lot of volunteer work. We do ministry work as well. My mom was a missionary for 25 years. So she would go to India, educate poor children that could never go to school. And now all of a sudden they've broken out of poverty because now they're working and their families are no longer poor. So I came from a really interesting background, like where I've got a dual engineer degree dad who became a broker. And he did a lot of cool things before that, but he's beyond intelligent, a super smart person. And then you've got this other personality who's all about charity work, giving, and that's all that matters to my mom. So it was a neat way of growing up. Like she did a lot of domestic violence help with women and relocation temporarily in her home. So you could imagine I'd come home from school and she'd say, "Hey, Miss Smith is living with us for 5 days," and I'm like, "What? Why?" Because she has to stay here till she finds a job and gets an apartment. And so we grew up with this just being a normal way of life. So for us, not giving during the week, like we've got to be doing some kind of service during the week, usually once or twice a week. Like we can't sit still unless we get up and do something. So I think that's why a lot of my business being referral has worked out really well because if we're not working, we're serving.
Mm-hmm.
And then if we're not serving, we go out to relax and we go out to spend time with our family. And, for us, it's just really about quality time. We could do anything as long as we get some time together. So I find that really restful. So yeah, recharge time.
And you had mentioned earlier that you like to travel, did a lot of traveling. So where's your favorite destination so far?
If you're asking me to go overseas, I liked my favorite destinations were Ireland and Switzerland by far.
Okay.
They were beautiful. They were nice. It was consistent. You could stay there for a long time, and it was enjoyable. I enjoyed a lot of other parts of Europe, but those two were my favorite. Um, there was a northern mountain area that when we were doing a missions trip in India, and it was called Shimla, and it was just gorgeous. They had all these natural streams and mountains. It was just beautiful. Cabins up there. And so it was a long time ago, but their driving is scary because you're driving like on the side of these mountains, and they drive fast, so there's not really a lot of intense traffic rules there. You just kind of do what you want. So that was kind of nerve-wracking, but it was a fun time. But in the United States so far, I think one of my favorite places is I like Florida a lot, and California was fun too. But Florida seems like more fitted for our family lately for sure. It's closer, it's quicker to get there.
And younger kids.
Yeah, and in Canada, I did a drive one time from Toronto to Vancouver, and that last 9 hours, so it was like 52 hours long, but the last 9 hours from Calgary to Vancouver was like picturesque, beautiful. It was just gorgeous. Like if you could take anything out of like art or imagery or photography and you want to see the best images like in real life, it was that last 9 hour drive was just stunning. Beautiful. So that sums it up for now. That's all I've done at this point. So
Yeah, me and my wife are just starting to get into where every fall now we're like going to a different national park. We've only been to like, 3, so we're just starting. So
yeah, you got to start somewhere.
yeah, so we just good. We hiked down and up the Grand Canyon 2 years ago, I think. And then we went to the Badlands just this September. So that was a fun trip.
It's nice.
Then before we wrap up, is there anything you'd like to share with the listeners? Any upcoming projects or initiatives that they should know about coming up?
Yeah, so we kind of like what we talked about earlier. Like we've really enjoyed pouring into people and building them up correctly as possible and as soon as possible because our market is changing so much with so many international investors, and we really want people locally to take advantage of what is out there for them. So we are putting on a fix and flip event on November 28th, 2 to 4 p.m. and it has networking that follows that. But the event is really unique because it's a panel where you're going to hear from a commercial flipper who flips apartment buildings and multifamilies, and you're going to hear from another investor who flips over 200 homes a year every single year consistently. And then we've got some other speakers that will also give you their success stories around their discipline and their systems. It's a great event, I believe, for somebody who wants to learn the nuts and bolts, but they're going to have the network right there to ask all the questions that they may need. We'll also have a hard money lender, which is really great for investors to understand the finance side. So we'll put on this event in Utica at the Host, 2 to 4 p.m., and we will probably repeat this again next year, and then we'll also have it in Florida too.
Okay.
Serve those two markets.
And when you're watching this video, we'll get all that information on the Detroit Real Estate TV page. So you just go there, find all that information. We'll get Marc's contact info there too. But just in case, what's the best way to reach you?
You can always visit our website at misoldteam.com, and that has all of our contact information there. You can search for homes. You can see our listings. You can get all the events that are going on. We actually have a Facebook business page of My Sold Team, and that usually has all of our stuff posted there, so it'll tell you everything that's coming up.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much for being here, Marc, and joining us today, providing your insight on real estate and travel.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure having you on Beyond the Front Door. And to our viewers, we thank you again for tuning in. and we'll catch you on the next episode of Beyond the Front Door. Have a great day.